A dry dock is where ships go for repair. The water is drained. The hull is exposed. And the damage below the waterline that nobody could see is finally visible. The ship didn't stop sailing because it failed. It stopped because the repairs require stillness. Tonight, God has your life in dry dock. The water drained, the hull exposed. And the repair that happens here will make you seaworthy for the next voyage. If this sound reached your heart, hit subscribe. More music like this drops every week. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for His name's sake. Psalm 23 verse 3. A dry dock drains the water and exposes the hull, the barnacles, the cracks, the damage below the waterline that nobody saw while the ship was sailing. And God just drained the water around your life. The hull is exposed, and the damage you hid beneath the surface is finally visible, and it's not failing. The dry dock says the ship didn't stop because it was broken beyond repair. It stopped because the repair requires stillness, and the water has to drain for the unveiling. He restores my soul, and the restoration is the dry dock, the season where the water drops and the hull is scraped and the cracks are sealed before the next sailing. Your dry dock season feels like death. The water gone, the ship sitting on blocks, but the repair happening below the waterline is the reason the next voyage won't need bailing. And the dry dock says the stillness is the repair, the exposure is the healing, and the ship that leaves the dock is stronger than the ship that entered, and it's not curtailing. He restores my soul. The dry dock repairs tonight, and the damage below the waterline is being fixed because the water drained and the hull is exposed in the light.
The dry dock,
The water drained and the hull is exposed,
and the damage
below the waterline is being repaired in the stillness.
the dry dock,
The ship stopped sailing,
not because it failed,
but because the repair requires the water to leave and the illness. He restores my soul. The dock
and the barnacles are scraped and the cracks are sealed.
and the ship that launches next carries the fullness.
Dry dock,
And the God who repairs below the waterline just drained the water, and the hull that was hidden is being made new. And the stillness is the wellness. The dry dock repaired Moses. 40 years the water drained, and the hull of the Egyptian prince was scraped until the deliverer emerged, and the vessel was ready for the mission. The dry dock repaired David. Years in caves the water drained, and the hull of the shepherd was reinforced until the king was seaworthy. And the transition. The dry dock repaired Paul. 3 days of blindness, the water drained rapidly, and the hull of the persecutor was completely rebuilt into an apostle.
and the commission,
And the dry dock says the most seaworthy vessels in the Bible went through the longest dry dock seasons, because the repair below the waterline determines the next voyage.
and the permission.
Your dry dock is almost complete.
The barnacles are scraped,
The cracks are sealed.
and the ship sitting on blocks,
It's about to be launched into water deeper than before.
and the admission.
The dry dock says the launch is coming.
The water
repairs are complete and the water is returning, and the ship that launches from this dock is stronger below the waterline than the day it was built.
The dry dock.
And the God who drains water to expose damage just sealed every crack, and the hull that was hidden is reinforced and rebuilt without guilt. From every still season I cursed, thinking the ship was dead, not knowing the dry dock was repairing what the ocean hid, and the silt.
The dry dock
Launches and the ship sails and the hull holds, and the voyage ahead is deeper than before, because the repair was below the waterline. And the quilt, the dry dock,
The dry dock.
repaired and ready to sail. A catalyst speeds up a reaction without being consumed. It enters the process, and the change that would take years happens in moments, because the catalyst was introduced. And God just dropped a catalyst into your life, a person, a word, a moment. And the reaction that was crawling for years just accelerated, because the catalyst was produced. The catalyst says the ingredients were already present: the faith, the pain, the readiness. But the reaction was slow until the catalyst entered and the speed was induced. I am doing a new thing now, it springs up, and the springing up is the catalyst, the acceleration of a process that was moving slowly until the new element was introduced. Your reaction has been slow, you had the ingredients but not the speed, and the catalyst that God dropped into your life this week changed the timeline, and the truth was deduced. And the catalyst says the change that would have taken 5 years just happened in 5 weeks, because the right element entered the mixture and the formula was reduced. I'm doing a new thing now, it springs up. The catalyst accelerates tonight, and the reaction that was crawling just multiplied, because the catalyst entered the mixture in the light.
The catalyst
God dropped a new element
into my mixture,
and the reaction that was crawling for years just accelerated beyond what the slow timeline could hold.
the catalyst,
The ingredients were already present, but the speed was missing, and the catalyst changed the timeline from years to weeks. And the goal,
a new thing now,
the catalyst,
and the springing up
is the acceleration,
and the formula that was so.
just receive the element that makes it unfold.
The catalyst,
And the God who controls chemistry,
just introduce the element.
my reaction needed, and the change that was crawling is now running, and the goal. The catalyst hit Abraham's life, the visit of 3 strangers accelerated the 25-year reaction, and Isaac arrived within the year. And the speed, the catalyst hit Israel's life, the 10th plague accelerated the 400-year reaction, and the nation left Egypt in one night. And the catalyst hit the disciples' life, the rushing wind of Pentecost accelerated the waiting reaction, and 3,000 were added in one sermon. And the seed and the catalyst says every accelerated reaction in the Bible happened when God dropped the right element at the right time, because the catalyst doesn't create the reaction, it speeds the deed. Your catalyst just entered,
You can feel the acceleration.
the change that was crawling is now sprinting,
season is over.
The element entered the mixture, and the reaction that follows the catalyst exceeds what the slow timeline ever agreed.
The catalyst,
God dropped a new element
into my mixture,
and the reaction that was crawling for years just accelerated beyond what the slow timeline could hold.
the catalyst,
The ingredients were already present,
but the speed was missing.
and the catalyst changed the timeline from years to weeks. And the bold,
Slow reaction,
fast element,
the catalyst drops,
and the time is spent
years to weeks.
crawling to running.
The catalyst,
Is God's cunning.
the catalyst,
The element just dropped, and the reaction accelerated. And the change that would have taken 5 years just happened because the catalyst entered the formula.
catalyst,
And the God who controls timing just introduced the element that my slow reaction needed. And the acceleration is spectacular. From every slow season I endured, not knowing the catalyst was being prepared. And the element would enter the mixture, and the timeline would become vernacular.
the catalyst,
Entered, and the reaction runs, and the formula changed, and the speed exceeds the crawl because God dropped the right element, and it's muscular.
the catalyst,
The catalyst, the catalyst,
the catalyst,
the reaction just accelerated. A grain silo stores the harvest. The farmer doesn't eat everything the day it's picked. He stores it because the silo feeds the family through the winter months. And God has a grain silo in your life. Harvest from past seasons stored. Provisions you forgot were gathered, but the silo has been feeding you for months. The grain silo says the harvest from 3 years ago is still providing, because what God stores doesn't rot. And the provision from the past sustains the fronts. He stores up sound wisdom for the upright, and the silo is the storage, the vault where past wisdom, past victories, past faithfulness feeds the current confronts. Your silo is full of harvest. You forgot about the patience learned 5 years ago. The faith built last season, stored and still feeding
without the stunts.
And the grain silo says the provision you need today was harvested last season, stored in the silo. And the grain that feeds the winter was gathered in the summer and the blunts.
He stores up sound wisdom for the upright.
The grain silo
Opens tonight,
and the harvest stored from seasons past is still fresh and still feeding in the light.
the grain silo,
Harvest from past seasons
are feeding me today.
because God stored what He gathered, and the provision
Never expired in the store, the grain silo.
the patience I learned years ago, the faith I built last season, still fresh in the silo, and still nourishing from the core. He stores up wisdom,
The silo,
and the harvest I forgot was gathered is providing in this season when I need it most from the floor. The grain silo and the God who stores past harvest just open the silo. And what I need before the door. The grain silo fed Joseph's Egypt, 7 years of stored grain in the silo. Fed a nation through 7 years of famine, because the harvest was gathered before the drought. The grain silo fed Israel with manna memories, 40 years of daily provision stored in the collective memory. And the silo of experience fed the conquest without doubt. The grain silo fed David with shepherd skills, years of pasture stored in the silo. And the stones that killed Goliath were harvested in the practice rounds. And the cloud and the grain silo says the past was not wasted. Every lesson, every trial, every skill was harvested and stored for the season you need it. And the shout, your silo is open. The grain from past seasons is pouring, and the provision for today's winter was harvested in last year's summer throughout. The grain silo says reach it. The grain is fresh, and what God stored from your past is the exact provision the season requires without a doubt. The grain silo, harvest from past seasons are feeding me today, because God stored what He gathered, and the provision never expired in the store. The grain silo, the patience I learned years ago, the faith I built last season, still fresh in the silo, and still nourishing from the core, stored above, still fresh. Past harvest feeds the rest. The silo opens, grain pours out. The grain silo ends the drought. The grain silo, the grain from 3 seasons ago just poured out, and the provision is fresh, because God stores what He harvests, and nothing expires in His storage. The grain silo, and the God who stores before the winter just opened the vault, and what I need today was gathered years ago, and the shortage is a mirage. From every winter I panicked, thinking I had nothing stored, not knowing the silo was full from harvest I forgot about. And the barrage, the grain silo is open, and the grain pours, and the past feeds the present, and God wastes nothing from the last season. And the garage, the grain silo, the grain silo, the past still feeds today. Firewall is invisible software that sits between your system and the internet. Every attack, every virus, every malicious code hits the firewall first. And the firewall decides what gets through and what gets blocked. You never see it working. But the reason your system is still running is the firewall caught what would have destroyed it. Tonight, God is your firewall. The attacks are real, but what reaches your core is filtered. Stay. The best song on this album is still ahead. Subscribe, so you never miss one. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. Psalm 121 verse 7. A firewall sits between the system and the attack, invisible. And every virus, every threat hits the wall before it reaches the core and the stack. And God installed a firewall between you and the enemy. The attacks are real, the threats are genuine, but the wall filters what gets through and what gets sent back. The firewall doesn't prevent the attack. The attack is launched, but the filter between the threat and the core catches what would destroy the system and the track. The Lord will keep you from all harm, and the keeping is the firewall, the invisible filter that blocks what the enemy sends and protects the data in the bag. Your system has been under attack, you feel the pressure, but the firewall caught the malicious code, and what reached your core was filtered, not raw, and the nag. And the firewall says the system runs because the filter works, and the attacks that should have crashed everything were blocked before they reached the software and the rack. The Lord will keep you from all harm.
The firewall filters tonight,
And the attack that should have destroyed my system was blocked by the filter God installed in the light.
the firewall.
The attack was launched, but the filter caught the malicious code, and what reached my core was clean because God's
Firewall,
blocked the thread. The firewall, invisible between the enemy and my system, and the virus that should have crashed everything was stopped
before it could infect.
and the net. It keeps from all harm.
The firewall,
And the filter that protects my core has been running since before the first attack and the set.
firewall,
And the God who installs protection just blocked another threat, and my system runs because the filter never lets the raw attack connect. The firewall blocked the attack on Daniel. The lions were the virus, but the filter sealed every mouth, and the threat was neutralized before it could execute. The firewall blocked the attack on Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego. The furnace was the malware, but the filter was the fourth man, and the fire couldn't pollute. The firewall blocked the attack on Joseph. The brothers' betrayal was the code, but the filter redirected the attack into the path that led to the throne and the root. And the firewall says every attack in the Bible was filtered before it reached the core, because God's protection runs in the background and the malicious code can't compute. Your firewall is active right now.
the attacks,
Are hitting the wall, but the filter is catching the threats, and what reaches your system is manageable. And the fruit, the firewall says the system is protected. The filter runs, and the attacks that should have crashed your life were blocked by invisible software and the pursuit.
the firewall,
The attack was launched, but the filter caught the malicious code, and what reached my core was clean because God's
firewall,
blocked the threat. The firewall, invisible between the enemy and my system, and the virus that should have crashed everything was stopped before it could infect. And the net attack launched,
filter catches it
the virus blocked,
before it latches.
system runs.
Core protected,
The firewall, God selected. Oh,
the firewall,
the attack just hit the wall, and the filter caught the malicious code, and my system keeps running because the protection God installed works in the background.
the firewall,
And the God who protects with invisible filters just blocked another threat, and the virus that should have destroyed me never reached the foreground. From every attack I survived, not knowing the firewall was filtering the threats before they reached my core, and the damage was blocked in the underground.
the firewall,
Filters and the system runs, and the attacks lose power at the wall, and the core is protected because God's firewall never goes down.
and it surrounds the firewall. The firewall, the firewall, the filter caught the thread.
Thermal mass is the ability of a material to absorb heat during the day and release it slowly at night. The stone wall that kept you warm after sunset was heated by a sun that already set. And God built thermal mass into your life. The worship, the prayer, the faith of the morning absorb the heat of His presence and now releases it slowly into your coldest night and the depths. The thermal mass says the warmth you feel at midnight didn't come from midnight, it came from the morning. The stone absorbed the heat hours ago, and the cold night benefits from the assets. The joy of the Lord is my strength, and the joy absorbed in the morning is the thermal mass, the stored heat that releases slowly when the temperature drops and the sun sets. Your morning worship was not just for the morning, it was the stone absorbing heat, and the warmth that carries you through the midnight was stored in the praise you offered at the onset. And the thermal mass says the cold night doesn't need its own fire. The heat absorbed during the day releases through the night, and the stone that worshipped in the morning warms you until the offset.
The joy of the Lord is my strength.
The thermal mass releases tonight, and the heat absorbed in the morning worship is warming the midnight, because the stone stored the presence in the light.
The thermal mass,
the worship of the morning,
store the heat,
and the warmth releasing at midnight is the presence absorbed hours ago.
the thermal mass,
Cold night doesn't need its own fire, because the stone absorbed enough heat during the day to release through the slow flow.
the joy is the strength,
The thermal mass
and the praise that absorb the presence.
releases the warmth when the temperature drops below. The thermal mass and the God whose presence is the heat just showed me that the morning worship is the reason the midnight is warm and the glow. The thermal mass warmed David through the cave nights. The morning psalms absorbed the presence, and the stone released the heat through the darkness and the cold. The thermal mass warmed Paul through the prison nights. The midnight worship absorbed the presence, and the stone released an earthquake, because the heat exceeded what the walls could hold. The thermal mass warmed the disciples through the crucifixion darkness. 3 years of walking with Jesus was the stone, and the absorbed presence released resurrection hope that was bold. And the thermal mass says the warmest midnights in the Bible followed the most worshipful mornings, because the stone absorbs proportionally to the time spent in the presence and the fold. Your thermal mass is loaded, the morning worship stored the heat, and the midnight you're walking through is warmer than it should be, because the stone releases what the morning enrolled. The thermal mass says worship in the morning, absorb the presence, because the heat the stone captures during the day is the warmth that carries you through the night and the mold.
The thermal mass,
The worship of the morning
store the heat,
and the absorb the presence full. Heat by day, warmth by night. The thermal mass holds the light. The thermal mass,
The thermal mass.
the midnight is warm, because the morning worship loaded the stone with presence. And the heat that releases through the cold night is the praise I offered at dawn. The thermal mass and the God whose presence is the heat just prove that the worship of the morning feeds the warmth of the midnight, because the stone holds what the morning spawned. From every cold midnight I shivered through, not knowing the morning worship was the stone absorbing heat that would release through the night and beyond.
The thermal mass
Releases in the midnight,
is warm.
and the stone holds the presence. And the worship of the morning is the fire that the night depends upon.
The thermal mass. The thermal mass.
The thermal mass, morning worship feeds midnight warmth. A rocket doesn't launch with one button. It launches with an ignition sequence, a series of systems activating in order until the final command sends the rocket off the pad. And God has been running an ignition sequence in your life, system by system, check by check. And the sequence that's been running in the background is almost complete, and it's not bad. The ignition sequence says the rocket doesn't launch until every system is green, one red light and the launch holds, because premature launch destroys what the sequence is designed to add. For I am confident that he who began a good work will carry it on. And the carrying is the sequence, system after system activating until the launch command is had. Your ignition sequence has been running,
Systems activating one by one.
and the green lights are stacking, and the final check is close in the launch pad. And the ignition sequence says the launch didn't happen yet because the system wasn't ready. But the sequence just turned the last light green,
And the countdown begins, and the comrade, he who began a good work will carry it on.
the ignition sequence completes tonight,
And the last system just turned green.
and the countdown to launch begins in the light.
The ignition sequence
System after system,
turning green
and the launch that's been delayed
was waiting for every check to clear.
before the command. The ignition
The
sequence,
ignition sequence,
one red light held the launch,
because premature ignition
destroys what patience builds.
and the demand.
He will carry it on. The sequence and the countdown that starts tonight is the completion of a sequence God has been running since before I could stand. The ignition sequence and the God who runs
Launch sequences,
just cleared the last system,
and the countdown begins.
and the rocket leaves the land. The ignition sequence launched Abraham, 25 years of system checks, and the final green light was Sarah's laughter, because the sequence cleared and Isaac was the launch. The ignition sequence launched Moses, 80 years of system checks, and the final green light was the burning bush, because the sequence cleared and the mission was the staunch. The ignition sequence launched the church, 50 days of system checks after the resurrection, and the final green light was Pentecost, because the sequence cleared in the launch.
The ignition sequence
Says the most powerful launches in the Bible follow the longest sequences, because
every system must be green before the rocket clears the haunch.
your sequence just completed. Every system is green, the countdown is running, and the launch that's about to happen is the result of years of systems checking. And the launch ignition sequence says 3, 2, 1. The last system clear, and the rocket that launches from this pad will go higher than anything the premature launch could have reached in the staunch.
The ignition sequence,
System after system
turning green,
and the launch that's been delayed,
waiting for every check to clear.
before the command, the ignition
The
sequence.
ignition sequence,
One red light held the launch,
because premature ignition
destroys what patience builds.
and the demand.
System check,
All green,
the countdown runs.
the launch convenes,
3, 2, 1,
the rocket flies,
the ignition sequence.
reaches the sky.
The ignition sequence. Every system is green, and the countdown hits 0, and the rocket just launched, and the force that propels it exceeds anything the premature launch could have achieved. The ignition sequence.
And the guy who runs launch
Sequences just said all systems go, and the rocket that rises from this pad carries everything the waiting conceived. From every delayed launch, I cursed not knowing a system was still red, and the sequence was protecting me from premature ignition that would have deceived. The ignition sequence completed, and the rocket flies, and every system is green, and the launch that was worth the wait exceeds what the early launch could have believed. The ignition sequence. The ignition sequence. All systems go. A draft shield blocks the cold air from entering through the gap beneath the door. The wind pushes, but the shield at the base stops the chill before it reaches the room. And God placed a draft shield at the base of your life. The cold wind of fear, grief, anxiety pushes under the door, but the shield catches the draft before it fills the room with gloom. The draft shield says the wind is real, the cold is genuine, but the gap between the door and the floor has a barrier, and the chill doesn't reach the bloom. He will cover you, and the covering is the draft shield, the barrier at the base that blocks what tries to enter through the gap beneath the loom. Yeah, your draft was coming in, cold air under the door, fear creeping through the gap at night, but the shield caught the chill, and the room stayed warm in the womb. And the draft shield says the barrier at the base is the faith at the foundation, the lowest point of the door, and the cold that tries to enter is blacked before it changes the temperature of the room. He will cover you, the draft shield blacks tonight, and the cold wind that pushed under the door was caught by the barrier at the base in the light. The draft shield, the cold wind pushed under the door, but the barrier at the base caught the chill before it reached the room, and the temperature held. Oh, the draft shield, the gap at the bottom is sealed, and the wind that tried to enter through the lowest point was blocked, and the cold was repelled. He will cover the shield, And the barrier at the base of my life catches what tries to creep in through the gap in the spell, the drive shield. And the God who places barriers at the base just blocked the cold that was entering through the gap I didn't know existed, and it's hell. The drive shield blocked the cold for Israel in Egypt. The blood on the doorpost was the shield at the base. Death passed over because the gap was sealed, and the night. The drive shield blocked the cold for Rahab. The scarlet cord was the shield at the window, and destruction passed because the barrier held tight. Oh, the drive shield blocked the cord for the disciples in the upper room. The locked door was the shield, and the cold of the word couldn't enter until the Spirit filled them with might. And the drive shield says every sealed gap in the Bible protected what was inside, because the barrier at the base determines what enters and what's blocked from the fight. Your drive shield is in place, the gap is sealed, and the cold that was creeping in under the door of your life just hit the barrier and stopped in the night. Oh, the drive shield says the room stays warm, the barrier holds, and the wind that pushes beneath the door loses its power. Have the shield and the light. Oh, drive shield. The cold wind pushed under the door, but the barrier at the base caught the chill before it reached the room, and the temperature held. The drive shield, the gap at the bottom is sealed, and the wind that tried to enter through the lowest point was blocked, and the cold was repelled. Cold wind pushes, shield blocks, the gap is sealed, the barrier locks, the room stays warm, the chill stays out, the drive shield removes the doubt. The drive shield, the wind pushed all night, but the barrier at the base held, and the room stayed warm because the shield caught every draft before it reached the air inside. The drive shield and the God who seals gaps placed the barrier before the wind started, and the cold that tried to enter was blocked, and the warmth survived the ride. From every cold draft I felt creeping in, not knowing the shield at the base was catching the chill before it could fill the room. And the tide, the drive shield blocks, and the room is warm, and the gap is sealed, and the wind loses at the base because the barrier was placed before the cold arrived, and the guide. The drive shield, the drive shield, the gap is sealed. A resonance chamber amplifies sound. The guitar body, the cathedral ceiling, the concert hall. The chamber doesn't create the sound, it makes the sound bigger than the source could produce alone. And God placed you inside a resonance chamber. Your worship, your prayer, your praise, the sound enters the chamber, and what comes out is amplified beyond what your voice could produce on its own. The resonance chamber says the smallness of the sound doesn't determine the volume of the output, because the chamber multiplies what enters, and the whisper becomes a throne. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and the strengthening is the the chamber, the space that amplifies what my small voice produces into a zone. Your worship enters the chamber small, one voice, one prayer, one song, but the resonance multiplies the sound. And what exits the chamber shakes the foundation and the stone. And the resonance chamber says the volume of the output is determined by the chamber, not the source. And the God who designed the chamber placed you inside a space that amplifies everything you've sown. I can do all things through Christ. The resonance chamber amplifies tonight. In the worship that entered small, just exited the chamber, louder than the source could produce in the light. The resonance chamber, my worship entered small, but the chamber amplified it, and what exits is louder than what my voice alone could ever make. The resonance chamber, the prayer was a whisper, but the chamber made it a shout, and the sound that reaches heaven exceeds the source in the earthquake. All things through Christ, the chamber, and the space God placed me in multiplies everything I produce, because the resonance does what effort can't fake. The resonance chamber, and the God who amplifies small sounds just turned my whisper into a roar, because the chamber multiplied what I offered, and the shake. The resonance chamber amplified David's harp, one instrument in a cave, but the chamber of God's presence multiplied the sound into psalms that still resonate and the ring. The resonance chamber amplified the widow's offering, 2 coins, but the chamber of heaven amplified it into the largest gift, because the resonance exceeds the thing. The resonance chamber amplified the boys' lunch, 5 loaves, 2 fish, but the chamber of Jesus' hands multiplied the offering into a feast for 5,000 and the king. And the resonance chamber says the most amplified outputs in the Bible came from the smallest inputs, because the chamber does the multiplying, not the string. Your resonance chamber is active, your small offering, your quiet prayer, your weak worship, entering the chamber and exiting amplified beyond recognition and the swing. The resonance chamber says the size of your input doesn't limit the size of the outputs, because the chamber multiplies, and the God who designed it placed you inside and the ring. Oh, the resonance chamber, my worship entered small, but the chamber amplified it, and what exits is louder than what my voice alone could ever make. The resonance chamber, the prayer was a whisper, but the chamber made it a shout, and the sound that reaches heaven exceeds the source in the earthquake. Small voice, big chamber, the sound multiplies through the labor. Whisper in, shout out, the resonance chamber removes the doubt. Oh, the resonance chamber, the whisper of my worship just exited the chamber as a roar, because the space God placed me in multiplies everything I offer beyond the source. The resonance chamber, and the God who designs chambers for amplification just turned my small prayer into a sound that shakes foundations, and the force from every small offering I dismiss, not knowing the resonance chamber was multiplying what I gave beyond recognition and the chorus. The resonance chamber amplifies, and the output exceeds the input, and the sound that exits the chamber is louder than the voice that entered and the source. The resonance chamber, the resonance chamber, small input, massive output. Small input, massive output. A tight clock doesn't tell the time of day. tells the time of the tide, when the water is coming in and when it's going out. The clock says you are not late, you are on tide time. And the tide has its own schedule that the clock on the wall doesn't understand. Tonight, God is setting your life to tide time. The world's clock says you're behind, but the tide clock says you're right on schedule. Share this with someone who needs peaceful music today. This sound was made to be passed on. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 11. The tide clock runs on a different schedule than the clock on the wall. The wall says you're late, but the tide says you're right on time in the flow. And God sets your life to tide time, not the world's clock, not society's deadline, but the rhythm of the tide that comes in and goes out, and the glow. The tide clock says the water comes when the tide says come, not when the calendar demands. And the schedule of the deep is different from the schedule of the show. He has made everything beautiful in its time, and the time is the tide, not the clock on the wall, but the rhythm of the water that knows when to ebb and flow. The wall clock says behind, late, overdue, but the tide clock says the water is coming in right now, because the schedule is the tide, not the shadow. And the tide clock says reset your clock. The world's time is not your time, and the tide that brings your blessing runs on a schedule the wall clock doesn't know. He has made everything beautiful in its time. The tide clock runs tonight, and the schedule that brings my blessing is the tide, not the world's clock in the light. The tide clock, the world says late, but the tide says on time, because the schedule of the deep runs differently than the clock on the wall. The tide clock, the water comes when the tide says come, and the blessing arrives on a schedule that the calendar doesn't call. Beautiful in its time, the time, and the time is not the world's deadline, but God's rhythm, and the rhythm has never missed a fall. The tide clock, and the God who controls tides just said you're on schedule, and the clock on the wall lied, because the tide keeps its own time. That's all. The tide clock ran for Abraham. The world said too old, but the tide said right on time, and Isaac arrived when the water came in at 100 and the strand. The tide clock ran for Joseph. The world said wasted years, but the tide said preparation, and the water came in at 30, and the prime minister hit the land. The tide clock ran for Jesus. 30 years the world saw nothing, but the tide clock said the water comes at 30, and 3 years changed the plan. And the tide clock says every person who looked late by the world's clock was perfectly on time by God's tide, because the deep runs on its own schedule and the span. Your tide clock says the water is coming in, the world's clock says late, but the tide that brings your blessing is arriving right now on God's schedule and the bend. The tide clock says ignore the wall clock. The tide is your time, and the water that's coming in carries what the world's deadline could never produce or understand. The tide clock, the world says late, but the tide says on time, because the schedule of the deep runs differently than the clock on the wall. The clock on the wall, tide clock, the water comes when the tide says come, and the blessing arrives on a schedule that the calendar doesn't call. Wall clock says late, tide clock says now. The schedule is God's, not the world's vow. The water comes in when the tide decides. The tide clock is where God resides. The tide clock, the water just came in, and the blessing arrived. And the world's clock said late, but the tide said right on schedule, because God's timing is the tide, not the wall. The tide clock and the God who controls tides just prove that the schedule of the deep is different from the calendar. And the water arrives, and the tide says, and that's all. From every deadline I miss by the world's clock, not knowing the tide clock runs on God's schedule, and the water was coming in on time, and the call, the tide clock says on time, and the water comes in, and the blessing arrives, and the world's clock was wrong, because the tide keeps its own schedule, and I stand tall. The tide clock, you're right on schedule. A spillway is the channel built into a dam that releases excess water in a controlled way. The dam holds the reservoir, but the spillway prevents the pressure from breaking the wall. And God built a spillway into your life. The reservoir of blessing has been building behind the dam, and the spillway is opening to release what the structure can no longer contain. Without the fall, the spillway says the release is not the dam breaking, it's the design working, because the controlled release through the channel prevents the uncontrolled collapse and the sprawl. My cup overflows, and the overflow is the spillway, the channel that releases the excess when the reservoir reaches capacity. And the call, your reservoir has been filling. You didn't see the water level rising behind the dam, but the spillway is opening because the pressure says release, and the heart and the spillway says the controlled release is the blessing flowing, not the dam breaking. And what pours through the channel is the excess that the reservoir couldn't hold, and the wall. My cup overflows, spillway opens tonight, and the reservoir that's been filling behind the dam just reached the channel, and the blessing flows in the light. The spillway, the reservoir behind the dam just hit capacity, and the channel is releasing the excess in a controlled flow that covers everything downstream. The spillway, not the dam breaking, but the design working, the control release of what the reservoir stored and the tea. My cup overflows, the spillway, and the blessing flowing through the channel is the excess that years of filling produced, and the dream, and the God
downstream.
The spillway opened for Solomon, the reservoir of wisdom filled until the spillway released, and kings from every nation came to drink from the overflow and the reach. The spillway opened at Pentecost, the reservoir of prayer filled for 10 days until the spillway released, and 3,000 were baptized in the overflow and the preach. The spillway opened for the woman with the alabaster jar, the reservoir of worship filled until the spillway released, and the fragrance filled the house and the teach. And the spillway says the most impactful overflows in the Bible came from the fullest reservoirs, because the spillway only opens when the dam reaches capacity and the breach. Your spillway is opening,
The reservoir
is at capacity,
and the blessing flowing
through the channel will cover more ground than the dam could hold.
and the speech.
The spillway says the filling season is complete. The channel opens, and what pours out downstream will exceed what the reservoir could contain.
And the leech,
The spillway, the reservoir behind the dam,
just hit capacity,
and the channel is releasing the excess in a controlled flow that covers everything downstream. The spillway,
not the dam breaking,
but the design
working,
the controlled release of what the reservoir
stored and the tea.
Oh, reservoir full,
Channel opens,
the blessing pours,
no more hoping,
controlled release.
not the break.
The spillway is what God makes. The spillway, the channel just opened, and the reservoir is releasing, and the blessing flowing downstream covers more ground than the dam could hold, because the filling season is complete.
Spillway,
And the God who fills reservoirs before opening spillways just released what years of filling stored, and the downstreams flooded with the sweet from every year the dam held, not knowing the reservoir was filling behind the wall. And the spillway would open when the capacity was met, and the feet
the spillway,
opened, and the blessing flows, and the downstream is covered, and the years of filling produced an overflow that the channel releases, and it's complete.
the spillway,
The spillway,
the spillway,
the reservoir just overflowed. Calibration is when an instrument is adjusted to read accurately. The scale that reads wrong is not broken, it just needs calibrating, and the measurements return to truth. And God is calibrating your life. The readings were off, the scale said failure when it should have said preparation. The instrument read wrong because it wasn't calibrated to His truth. The calibration says the instrument is not broken, the readings just drifted, and the adjustment brings the measurements back to what the Maker designed. And the proof, create in me a clean heart, and the clean heart is the calibration, the adjustment that brings the instrument back to accurate readings. And the roof, your readings have been off. The scale said worthless when the Maker says priceless. The gauge said empty when the reservoir was full. The calibration corrects the spoof, and the calibration says the adjustment is not punishment, it's precision. And the instrument that reads accurately after calibration is more reliable than before the goof. Creating me a clean heart, the calibration adjusts tonight, and the readings that were off are being corrected to the maker's specifications in the light. The calibration, the readings were off, but the instrument is not broken. It just needed adjusting, and the measurements are returning to the maker's truth. The calibration, the scale said failure, but the maker says preparation, and the adjustment changes what the instrument reads. And the youth clean heart, the calibration, and the instrument that reads accurately after the adjustment is more reliable than the instrument that was never tested. And the proof, adjusted my readings, and what I saw as failure now reads as preparation. And the truth, the calibration adjusted Jacob. The reading said deceiver, but the calibration at Peniel changed the reading to Israel, and the instrument was accurate from the fight. The calibration adjusted Peter. The reading said denier, but the calibration at the beach changed the reading to shepherd, and the instrument read right. The calibration adjusted Paul. The reading said persecutor, but the calibration at Damascus changed the reading to apostle, and the instrument found its sight. And the calibration says every adjusted instrument in the Bible was more accurate after the calibration than before, because the maker's adjustment is precise. And the might, your calibration is happening right now. The readings are shifting, failure to preparation, empty to full, worthless to priceless, because the maker's hand adjusts the night. The calibration says the instrument reads true now. The adjustment is complete, and the measurements from this point forward are accurate to the maker's specifications. And the right, the calibration, the readings were off, but the instrument is not broken. It just needed adjusting, and the measurements are returning to the maker's truth. The calibration, the scale said failure, but the maker says preparation, and the adjustment changes what the instrument reads. And the youth readings off, adjustment made. The maker's hand makes the grade. Not broken, just drifted. The calibration has me lifted. Oh, the calibration, the readings just adjusted, and the instrument now reads what the maker intended. And the failure reading changed to preparation, and the scale reads priceless. Oh, the calibration, and the God who calibrates just corrected every measurement, and the instrument that was reading wrong now reads with the maker's precision and the niceness. From every wrong reading I believe, not knowing the instrument was uncalibrated, and the maker was about to adjust every measurement to his specifications. And the fineness, the calibration adjusted, and the readings are true, and the instrument is more reliable than before the drift, and the maker's head is steadiness. The calibration, the calibration, the readings are true,